Hey guys, thought I'll give a little update because I haven't spoken on Instagram in a while. We've done about $3,500. We've done $10,000 in our first month of this $0 to $1 million series, which I'm actually quite happy with. It's definitely not a bad start. So we've done $3,500 in sales from the OnlyFans course. I was just helping someone out, one of the course members, with recruiting some OnlyFans girls, and we just had another sale come in just now, so we're at $3,500 there. I've also set up the social media agency course, and we've had one pre-order for $2,500. Which is also quite good. And the Tinder guys, they've just put in another order for 10 more Tinder accounts for promoting their girls on OnlyFans. So to actually make the Tinder accounts, like, we use real devices, which is why you'll often see a load of iPhones around my house. The Tinder accounts are quite hard to do, but we've figured out a method to actually get that working now as well, which is quite good. So yeah, we've done over $10,000. I think we've done about $11,500, $12,000 in the first month. And the one just slightly annoying thing, to be honest, is waiting for things to clear, for money to clear, so that I can actually start deploying that capital to generate more income. Sorry, and there's also $500 in recurring revenue for the Tinder accounts as well. But I'm pretty sure that they'll scale up more than this. But yeah, the one annoying thing is technically there's $11,000 in pending payments, but I just haven't received it yet. So we can't really deploy and utilize that capital until it becomes available. I was thinking just to almost take it out of my own bank account just to speed up the process of the series, but to reduce the number of days it takes me to hit the goal. So I thought I'll just leave it for now, but mostly I'm honestly just waiting for payments to clear and dealing with a few other clients here and there. Off topic, I've now been converted into a Kindle user. I am a massive fan of paper books. I've got a book collection here. It's about a $5,000 book collection, and I love the feeling of paper. And obviously I'm a bit of a tech nerd as well, but there was just one thing I never saw myself moving away from paper books. I'm quite traditional in some ways. But now that I've been using this Kindle Oasis, it has 3G and 4G internationals. You can actually download books anywhere in the world without a Wi-Fi signal, which I thought was quite interesting. And just to carry around a load of books. And so I was recommended it by someone else actually, so I just picked one up. And then the other feature that you have is the ability to just make highlights in a book. And then you can install a plugin. I'm using Readwise, and it will automatically sync all of your highlights that you've made in the Kindle over to Notion. And this is just I don't know, for someone who's in love with automation, I can't believe that I've never done this before. Previously, I would just write them down automatically, or dictate my notes into the Apple Watch and it would get synced into Notion. But this is just a far more streamlined system. So I still love paperback books, and I still fully intend on improving my collection of actual books. But for the majority of my consumption, it will now be through Kindle. And it's 2 weeks into the new year now. I can't believe it's been 2 weeks already, but I've been doing quite a lot of, I don't know, let's call it sort of yearly planning / deeper thinking about the direction that I'm taking my life in. What is it that I want to achieve and prioritize this year? And one thing that I've really become aware of is the things that really matter to me are freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. They are really the most important things to me. And then I guess being healthy is of course up there as well, both in terms of a healthy mind, a good mindset, and a functioning brain, and of course from a physical point of view as well, both having a healthy functional body and not having any diseases, you only, or having a lot of illness when you're recovering, or you have recovered from recently being sick, right? At least I know I always do. I'll tell myself I'm going to be so grateful for how like for how it feels when I'm well. So, and it's something that you just forget about, that we just take for granted all the time, right? So that's also actually something that I turned into a habit, even just being grateful for like feeling good. But anyway, like the things that really matter to me are, it's freedom, time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom. Financial freedom, I definitely have like an element of already. Time freedom, somewhat to a point. There's definitely room for improvement. Like I can choose what I work on and when, but still not quite as much as I want to. And then location freedom is like the sort of most, probably the one where like I'm lacking the most. So I live in Georgia, like, and I did have more location freedom. Yeah, I've tied myself quite deeply into Georgia, and I'm very happy to have Georgia as a base. Like I have an apartment here, which is pretty much like all of the mortgage is paid off. So no matter how bad my life gets, if I go bankrupt, if a financial system collapse, like whatever it is, you know, just like preparing for worst case scenario events, I have like a paid off apartment in like a really nice area, and I have a good quality of life. But now I'm going to spend a little bit more time this year traveling. There are like some other places that I want to explore for potentially setting up new bases. And just even like general travel, like I really enjoy. There's often quite a big difference between a country that you want to live in. A country can be great to travel to and visit for a holiday, but the question of would you want to live there is really, I have a completely different set of priorities compared to where I would go to on a holiday. But anyway, yeah, I think you'll see a little bit more traveling to Colombia at the end of this month, and then potentially spending a little bit of time in like the Dominican Republic, and potentially a few of like the islands in that, I think Jamaica, and I've completely lost the name of the other one now, but in that sort of area of the world, just spending some time on some beaches in the nice weather. I felt a little bit trapped in Georgia recently, and like you can see, it's not that bad today actually, but when it's like grey outside, I tend to get quite affected by the weather, particularly in like the winter months. There is a name for this actually, which I've completely slipped my mind. And another thing is I'm doing a load of blood tests. For one big benefit of Georgia is that it is very, very cheap to get your, for like medical things. And they will actually just sit there, do all of your blood work. You sit down on your sofa, or like you can get all sorts of different stuff done. You can get PCR tests, like whatever you want, and they'll come around. And a PCR test is like $15 to have them come to you and do it. No queuing up or anything. And for like all of this blood work, I'm doing about 10 different tests. I'm also doing like testosterone, mostly for like gut health, for monitoring gut health, which tends to be very related to everything else in the body anyway. It's costing about $150 to do 10 tests. So I've now made it like a little routine that every 3 months, every quarter, I've added it in the Notion system. I have to input all of these different data points of like my general bodily function, just to make sure everything's in order. So like medical travel is definitely something worth looking into in Georgia. Also, I know in terms of like plastic surgery out here, I think boob jobs are quite cheap, and it's